Well, it was kind of frustrating to be a Republican lawmaker during Minnesota's last legislative session. The Democrats control, of course, the House, the Senate, and the governor's office. My next guest is the Republican leader in the House. Lisa Demuth is the House Minority Leader. She is from Cold Spring, and she is with her family, too, including her granddaughter, who I thought was her daughter, so a very youthful Lisa Demuth. You just heard the governor on the school resource issue. Is that enough? You said that you just told me 40 police departments are not going into schools because they're worried about this law.
That is true. Good morning, Esme. Good to be with you, and good morning to everyone at the fair this morning. It's a perfect day in Minnesota to be here and celebrate our get-together.
Right.
To your question, though, we have heard that nearly 40 departments are not going to be having their school resource officers in the buildings as they normally had because of the new law that was passed this last legislative session.
Okay. And that's how many, do you know how many school districts? I mean, that's obviously going to be a lot of school districts. And a lot of people obviously want those officers in schools. You heard the governor. Is that enough? He said he might call a special session just a few minutes ago.
I was very encouraged to hear the governor this morning say that there's still a chance that we could do that special session. I think it's important to realize that we are hearing from school districts across the state, and that's Democrat and Republican leaders, both in police departments, law enforcement agencies, and school districts that said we have to get this language clarified. And the legislature is the only one that can do that.
And it doesn't sound like it can wait until February. As far as you're concerned, you feel it needs to happen now so there's clarification so more of those officers can get in the schools.
Absolutely. Okay. And, you know, it's important to realize that we sent a letter, the Republican leader in the Senate and myself sent a letter to the governor Wednesday morning and said, Governor, would you please call a special session? We know that the Department of Education cannot clarify that language. We asked for the special session to bring clarity. We know that our law enforcement...
You are asking for the special session on the monitor with a number of law enforcement.
Yes, we are. And, you know, the other thing is that knowing that the Department of Education can't clarify the language, only the governor can call us back and get that clarity. It would be very, very simple.
I want to ask you about the test scores. I just read them out when I was talking to the governor. Obviously, 46% proficient in math, 46%, 50% in reading. For black students statewide, 21% are proficient in math, 31% proficient in reading. You have been concerned about the amount of money that the governor has called for and got from the legislature for education. Do you think that money will go and get into the classroom to all these, lovely students that are out there?
We know that the money needs to get to our students, and our focus on literacy, especially in the House Republican caucus, the science of reading was a proven way to teach kids. From kindergarten to third grade, they are learning to read. After that, they are reading to learn. And if we're failing them early on, we really wanted to focus on that science of reading.
So you're behind this now, because I know that you're critical of this enormous spending increase.
Well, we're very focused on getting our kids caught up in where they need to be. So in this last legislative session, only $75 million was appropriated to the spending for literacy alone out of all of that. And the education budget is actually 40% of our state budget.
I want to ask you about another topic, abortion. There are indications that Republican women are not enthusiastic about the Republicans' party stand, and some of the legislation that you folks wanted, you didn't get it because you're in the minority. Does the Republicans' view of abortion or women who have abortions need to be adjusted?
I think it's important to realize that the Democrats this year passed abortion laws that allows abortion all the way to the time of birth. And if you ask Minnesotans across the state, most people are not in favor of that. It's important to know abortion was never going to change in the state of Minnesota. That right is guaranteed because of Doe versus Gomez. It was not going to change leading up to this last election. Going forward with a Democrat-controlled governor and Senate, it's not going to change.
Well, a lot of people thought for 50 years what Roe v. Wade was not going to go down, but it did. Thank you so much, Lisa Demuth, for coming down here with your family from Cold Spring. We really appreciate it.
Thank you, Esme. Great to be with you this morning. Appreciate it.